Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the featured news for today, 13th of April 2022. Today's featured news is on poverty and hunger in the country, and in that reference, Prime Minister's Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. Before we start this discussion, hello Kim, Netra, Bhavani, all of you, welcome. Hima, Sam, Ashish, welcome to all of you. Hima, great question asked and very beautiful conversation indeed on India's diplomacy abroad and the stakeholdership of Indian Foreign Service here. So good one here. Let's begin this discussion on Prime Minister's Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. India is one of the countries which has faced the challenge of nutrition and hunger security. The Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 2 speak of no abject poverty and removing extreme hunger from the face of the world. And for that same reason, countries, especially the developing and the least developed countries, have initiated various programs. In fact, United Nations itself has initiated the World Food Program for the same. India had initiated a very important scheme for public distribution system, PDS, under which food would be procured by the government from farmers, millions and millions of tons with Food Corporation of India, and it would be redistributed to people under targeted public distribution scheme. All right. So first of all, food procurement, and later on the targeted food distribution. And this is how India said that they would be distributing food to the poorer masses at the price of 1, 2, and 3 rupees. 1 rupee for rice, 2 rupees for wheat, and 3 rupees for other items, cereals like pulses and other items. All right. But India did feel the need of providing certain important, and this was under National Food Security Mission. Along with that, and in this, approximately 75% of India's population was covered. A decent chunk of the urban population, around 50%, and 90% of the rural population was covered, basis of understanding of what is the income level of people there, income level of people in the areas. And later on, during COVID times, another scheme came up, and this scheme was called as Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Package. And under this, Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana also came in which 5 kilos of free ration was provided to 80 crore persons. 80 crore persons. Every individual would get 5 kilos of the cereals and 1 kilo also of pulses for the times of COVID. So this scheme ran over the maybe 5 to 6 times, extended 5 to 6 times, different episodes, and it helped in providing essential nutrition to the persons in India. This was because India was going through a phase of intense lockdown, and people, especially the marginalized sections, did not have any employment source of livelihood. So the government went ahead with this program. This program was appreciated by International Monetary Fund, and they said India has almost eradicated extreme poverty and brought down consumption inequality to its lowest levels in 40 years through state-provided food handouts. And this is what IMF has said. In fact, IMF presented a report, Pandemic Poverty and Inequality, and it has given evidence from India. It has given evidence from various places. India's case has been also taken up. And they say that contrary to the evidences of various other reports, the extreme poverty in India has only declined, and inequality has also declined with the time, right? So right now in India, extreme poverty is determined by those people who are earning less than $1.9 purchasing power parity levels, less than $1.9 in the country, right, per person per day. And this is where they say that when extreme poverty levels of India is below 1%, because they've seen that change happening in the country, they've mapped this, they've understood that the Gini coefficient is only decreasing in the country. Therefore, let us raise the levels of the extreme poverty in the country. This will set up new bars for the country to develop and to develop its people. Therefore, they say that new levels where the salary earned by the person per month or per annum, that should increase for the extreme poverty. This is what IMF has said. Now, this is a very beautiful feature news where we have spoken about how poverty has been calculated all the time, right? What have been the various parameters. Now, if you look at the ways in which poverty has been calculated during the past, there are various ways. For example, one of the ways was the uniform reference period. See, people would consume items in the country, consume items. So once they earn, they consume items. There would be a consumption base of the item created, a food basket, a basket of the products that people consume. Simple items that people consume are products like slippers, products like hair comb, products like pencil for children. And a basket of these items would be created to understand the consumption expenditure of the family. And there would be a mix, there would be a recall period. That means the surveyor would go to the person and would see what is the expenditure level in this particular month, in the next month, and the next month ensuing after that. And this is how they would be able to have a uniform reference period. This is what is called as uniform reference period. Now, this is the consumption expenditure across 30-day recall period. All right, this is how it would be understood. 30-day recall period, and they would understand the consumption expenditure in the family. After that, another scheme was utilized which was called as mixed reference period, in which the basket of items where 30-day recall period was there, they would be utilized. Along with that, there would be another yearly survey for some other specific good of items. And this is how they would use a stabilized form to understand what is the consumption level of the person. Through this, right now, what they have understood is that the country, the country's extreme poverty has remained around 0.8% in both 2019 and 2020. That means the extreme poverty level, abject poverty. See, I can consider myself to be poor in front of Mukesh Ambani, and somebody else could consider themselves poor in front of me. So poverty is a relative concept. But abject poverty means not even being able to have the 2 square meals, or not even being able to live under a shed, and not even being able to have basic clothes. They are determined by one's earning and one's expenditure. So the extreme poverty levels in India, according to IMF, that has only decreased, and it has remained below 1% even despite COVID times. PMGKY Anna Yojana is one of the reasons. Other reasons are that the extreme poverty is now diminished because of missions like National Food Security Mission and targeted public distribution system. So when they appreciate a scheme like this, they also have negated various other schemes in the country. Like, for example, if there are reports which are mentioning that the poverty has only increased, if you remember, we have had reports which are speaking of, World Bank reports speaking of people which have been pushed further into poverty. All those have been negated by this report. This report clearly mentions that yes, between 2005 and 2016, the incidence of multidimensional poverty in India was almost half, and the biggest reduction in multidimensional poverty gap have been witnessed among the poor and traditionally disadvantaged groups. This is what they have said. And schemes like MNREGS have and social assistance program have only helped in a scheme like this, right? The consumption inequality also has dropped. So these are the various things that the report has mentioned. They have also said that the National Sample Survey, claiming that the food subsidies have reduced poverty on a consistent basis. Yeah, all right. So they have always mentioned that there has been an increase of equity, reduce of inequality, reduction of extreme poverty in the country, and therefore let us raise the bar from $1.9 to $3.2. That's what I remember. All right, this is what they have recommended, IMF paper. All right, so this is one thing. And the major scheme that they have attributed to this achievement is the Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Yojana. This is a part of Prime Minister Garib Kalyan package, where the government said that they would help the poor people who are in need. For example, migrant workers. So women people would be given some specific benefits during the COVID times. I remember there was a scheme in which 500 per month would be given to the women people in their account for 3 months. Right, 20 crore women Jan Dhan account holders to get 500 rupees per month for 3 months. This was a part of Prime Minister Garib Kalyan package. Along with that, those people who lost their lives, COVID warriors, they would get some insurance for their lives. Not only that, the government also said that it would provide relief to the construction workers, provide relief to the migrant workers. It also helped in increasing the MNREGA just wages during these times, right? Along with that, they also said that they would increase the contribution to people through a scheme like passing on direct benefit like transfer, right? Food transfer, right? So this is what Garib Kalyan package was about. But then the government was also in the thoughts that the Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana should be terminated. This was the last year that the government was speaking of. It was because it said if states want to give some advantage to the poorer population, they must do it. It's fine. The food item which is available in the public space, for example, if Food Corporation of India procures 100 million tons, 100 million tons from people, from the farmers, and they utilize a bulk of this to distribute amongst people, and after maintaining a buffer stock for emergency and exigencies needs, if they still have say 20 million tons left, it will be available for anybody to purchase, right? For anybody to purchase, and states can purchase this and they can further continue with the Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, because center felt that the economy has opened, everything has revived, and then states can go ahead further. But this is the time when there was the third wave of COVID, when the government said they would further extend the Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. All right, because nobody knew what would be the severity of the third wave, government continued with the scheme. Government has also faced the deficit, lakhs of crores of deficit on this. And this is the reason that this scheme has been of some or the other benefit for everybody. All right. The beneficiary lists for the scheme is dependent on the last census 2011. This is also pending. Digital census 2021 is also pending this time. So therefore, the other poverty estimations and global hunger index which criticize India, they have been nullified by a report like this. But we will not stay guard of a scheme like this. We will retain our stand. For example, if the malnutrition level in India, with the government report itself stating that there's 35% of stunting and 20% of wasting in the country, 50% of anemic people, and acute anemia is to a great range, even amongst men and women and children alike, we will stand by that. And we will want that a scheme like this to help people achieve nutrition security, it continues. So what are the advantages of a scheme like this? It helps people. In fact, we must understand what are the shortcomings of a scheme like this. For example, targeting of beneficiaries is a concern. The availability of food products, the availability. For example, there have been various ways in which we saw that the food wasn't available at the fair price shops. So digitally targeting the FPSS, food price shops, and knowing what is the time, what is the duration of time or day the food is available in these shops and how it can be procured. So more transparency in procurement and purchasal of the food crops at fair price shops. So pilferage and corruption will be avoided. At the shortcomings of this program are FCIs go down, where the food goes stale. This must not happen. We must build better go downs. Along with that, possibly looking at direct benefit transfer instead of huge procurements by the government and then huge delivery by the government. If we make everything happen through direct benefit transfer, for example, farmers which are being forced to cultivate wheat and rice just because there is higher MSP in those products. If that doesn't happen, if the government gives them finances instead of giving them subsidies or giving them MSPs, they will get direct benefit transfer. The people who are procuring, they will be independently procuring at market prices than the subsidized 1, 2 or 3 rupee prices. So lot of governance, lot of administrative hurdles will be simplified. There will be direct targeting of what is required. Demand supply will be not in further mismatch. So there are various ways in which government can actually streamline a process like this through direct benefit transfer. This is a whole soul solution to any governance issues like this. In fact, if we've given fertilizer subsidies, we've given input subsidies like water, electricity. What about subsidies related to seed production and management? Government helping in management of food procurement, food distribution, all of them will get simplified if we start giving direct benefit transfer. What does it entail? It entails people having Aadhaar card, it entails people having a bank account, it entails people having a mobile number, the jam trinity. And if this is enabled, this will help people to get get past these all the hurdles of any scheme where enormous government effort is being put. So during the times of COVID, the Supreme Court had ordered that even when people do not have their ration card, they should still be given food, because there were cases which were found that the people did not have these identity cards, and because of that they were refused the essential food for that month. And there have been cases of deaths. The reports have been found of deaths happening because people were refused food by the government, and this was a very, very dismal state of affair. So this is where Supreme Court had said that during COVID, no asking for the identity cards, you must distribute the ration and note down the name of the individual. So digitizing the services, making it achievable for everybody, this is the long-term solution for a scheme like this. IMF paper, all right, good enough, right? Appreciating that government schemes have helped, all right, that's good enough. But then looking at the concerns, the question will be asked from the concerns in the country and how to sort them, right? So reports will keep on coming and keep on going. But then what is important is to understand that if the poverty level, if the extreme poverty level has stayed below level, then we must increase the level at which we call extreme poverty. That is $1.9. So what did we understand here? We understood what is the reason for IMF's appreciation. It found that the Gini coefficient has been lowering in the country. That means inequality has been lowering in the country. Along with that, the abject poverty parameters, the purchasing power of the people have only increased with time. All right, one criticism of this particular report is that while we speak of consumption based and we also speak of income based, we have related both of them. This cannot happen. For example, we are speaking of people earning $1.9 per individual per day. But then when we speak of rating their poverty levels, we look at the consumption basket. How is this possible? Either we should look at the consumption or income. We cannot look at both of them together. So this is an inconsistency in the way the report has been produced, any report here, right? So we understood IMF's report and the causes of it. We understood the Prime Minister's Garib Kalyan package. We understood about the National Food Security Mission, and under National Food Security Mission, we also understood in the update article about the PM Poshan or midday meal scheme. We also understood what are the issues associated with a complete mission like this, right? This is possibly the largest food delivery program in the whole world. So there has to be pilferages, there has to be corruption, there has to be some shortcomings, and to overcome them, what we understood was direct benefit transfer being one of the important ways out. See, direct benefit transfer also is a way out in providing health services. This is what we have covered in the editorial article today. Must watch editorial article for today, which speaks about direct benefit transfers at secondary levels. What is that? Insurance schemes, right? And then primary levels provide them the services through health and wellness centers. So direct benefit transfer is one of the way out. And we also studied about a couple of shortcomings of this report. For example, the consumption and expenditure base. All right. Discuss the PM Garib Kalyan Yojana in context of recent trends in poverty reduction in the country. So simple question on this. Questions on National Food Security Mission. Questions on the ways in which poverty has been calculated in the country. Questions on poverty alleviation have always been asked in the UPSC examination. Even the fundamental questions have been asked. And this is where this feature news will help you counter a question like this. All right. All right. Questions, please post them down. The questions, please post them down. I would like you to read this feature news so that things are clear to you. Questions, please post so that we are able to help you understand these articles better. And if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. Tiyasha, Preeti, good evening to you. And I'd urge two things from you people. One, keep your routine discipline so that you prepare for the prelims exam timely, and then also keep on participating with the family and friends so that you are making the whole process a little sustainable. One of the modes of participation is through the chats and discussions that we have every day. right? So keep engaging so that things are a little on the lighter side, and you take this exam in the stride itself. It is not as heavy as we call it to be. The questions have already possibly been shortlisted, and they are being prepared duly right now. So prepare your chunk of the day through revising content, through understanding new content, but do not get anxious. Even if you do, no problem. Keep sharing, keep talking about it, so that there are solutions to be found. All right. So Bhavani, Sam, Netra, Ashish, Preeti, Kim, good night to all of you. Kriti says reliable, accessible, affordable, equitable food supply. Yes, this is a good solution, but while we speak of accessible, reliable, affordable and equitable supply of food, we are still propagating these schemes. The simpler one would be direct benefit transfer. Just pass on the finances to them and they will do the work for themselves. Farmers will know what to cultivate if we pass on a set amount for their finances. So for example, 1 acre of land, and in one season you pass on 5,000 rupees. Government of Telangana is doing a scheme like this, and other states have also picked up a scheme like this. So instead of giving them MSP, minimum support price, of what produce they produce, instead of that, you provide them the input, the cost in the beginning itself, direct benefit transfer, and they will know what to procure, what to cultivate in their fields, and during the time of need, what to procure from the market. And they will also get direct benefit transfer in them. So ensuring more efficiency, cleanliness and transparent procedures in passing on finances, and more efficient system. All right. So if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments and shares, and please keep noting down the important elements, so that you also prepare a repository for revision. All right. Thank you and good night to all of you.